My first bike I think I got when I was 8, and it was a beautiful blue Schwinn with streamers and a beautiful basket, and it was just the Cadillac of little girl bikes. And I remember we used to ride around the neighborhood and put playing cards with clothespins on the wheels so it would sound like a motorcycle.
The first memory I have of riding a bike was when I was about 5 years old. My sister and I had to share a bike. It was an adult-sized bike that my parents had painted turquoise, and we had to learn to ride a bike standing up.
My earliest memory of riding a bicycle, and I don't have many early memories, is of my dad behind my apartment in Queens, New York, pushing me down a hill with my pigtails on my red bike. I just got my training wheels off and I was very proud, saying, "You can do this."
My first bike that was shared with my sisters and I was a used old clunker that my dad got. We didn't have a lot of money, and he spray painted it white, and we had a lot of fun with it. The hard part was trying to share it with 3 girls. We only had one bike among the 3 of us, but my dad got a bike for my brother. He got his own bike.
My first bike was a huge surprise. I was very elated to find one day that I came home on my birthday, came around the corner, and there was this old blue, definitely blue, bike that I had pined away for. It was used, but it was mine.
I was 7. My folks were frugal and didn't believe in getting little bikes with training wheels, so I had a 24-inch blue Huffy and did not have an innate sense of balance, so I have many memories of my dad holding the bike, and I'd almost get it, and he'd let go, and as soon as I knew he'd let go, boom!
I remember my first bicycle ride as being when I lived in Oklahoma, and my parents got me a beautiful red bicycle, a Schwinn bicycle, and they put me on the bicycle. I guess they must have showed me how to use it, but I didn't know how to use the brakes, and so I just kept riding and riding and riding until I fell off.
I got my first bike when I was 10, and I was so excited. Unfortunately, I lived in Seattle, and my birthday fell on a very rainy day. Not only a rainy day, but the day my brother was graduating from college, I think. And so everybody was doing stuff. It was raining. All I could do was just polish my bike. That was just it.
I had a bike that when I first started riding my bike, the name of it was a Shelby, and every time I'd ride it to the park, everybody would ask me if that was my name.
I started riding a bike that my parents got at the police auction. So it was one of these huge tired bikes. And I remember riding it. The handlebars were like this, and we'd go riding over the roads, kind of like the cruiser bikes nowadays.
Well, my first bike came on Christmas Day because that's my birthday. And it was handmade by a friend of my father's, and the fenders were chrome, and the handlebars were specially sized for my small 7-year-old size, and it had departure brakes. That was very special because my dad was explaining to me all the mechanical parts of this. And I named my bike Whirlaway because that was the Kentucky Derby champion that year.
When I was young, I lived on a dead-end street in a lovely little neighborhood in Vermont, and somehow I don't remember exactly when I learned to ride a bike. I just remember always riding my bike. I had a blue Schwinn, and I even used to ride my bike to grade school.
But when I first started riding bikes, we were on our bikes all the time, and it was transportation. It wasn't going for a bike ride. It was, this is how we got from one place to another. It was great fun, but only one gear. So it was tough.
Biking has been part of my life since day one. I grew up in Denmark, and in Denmark you have a bike all your life. Even my old grandma, who would bike on a sofa cycle with a rubber band around her skirt to her foot so it would not fly up.
We just loved to go biking down this old trolley car path at the end of our street. It was nice and smooth. Most of the roads around where we lived were not paved, but this was a nice wooded area, so it was very scenic and lots of animals there, and it just rode through the woods.
One of my favorite memories is being able to ride over to my grandmother's house on the way to the store in order to find out if she needed anything. I felt so grown up.
And I loved the independence that it gave me because I could go all over. Back in those days, you know, you could say goodbye to your mom and be home for dinner. So I got a lot of fun out of that bicycle.
I didn't ride during junior high, high school, and I was too busy in college, but because biking wasn't cool. And of course, when you're a teenager, at least for me, I had to do what was cool.
I kept riding a bike on and off when I was at college. And through my first child, we put a little seat on the back of the bike, and it was a bit of a leg up to finesse it, but I could. When I had 2 kids, that was it. No more biking.
Riding wasn't the in thing to do particularly, so I didn't really keep up with it when I was in high school and college.
When I first moved to Boston and was working in the city and living in the city, I just took the trolley car or and the subway everywhere, so I didn't really have need for a bike.
I probably stopped riding college, high school time, and I wished I had been able to ride in college because it'd be a great way to get around campus. But you know, at that time, all the girls were wearing skirts and so forth.
I really didn't ride bikes after that. I went to college, and you know, living in LA, it's not really a bike town.
It wasn't cool to be riding my bike when I was in high school, although, and even in college, I just didn't have a bike.
I was part of a women's running group, and everybody was doing triathlons, and I was just scared to get on the bike. It never even occurred to me that I could get on a bike until I moved to Colorado, and I just feel living here, I had no other choice.
I really have not had a time in my life where I don't remember not having a bike or being part of biking. Not necessarily for exercise, but just for daily commuting.
When I came to Colorado, my husband bought me a bike, and I was in love again, and it was so great to be doing it here.
Somewhere in my 50s, I went on a cruise to Alaska, and they would have these adventures you could sign up for, and I always signed up for the bike adventures because when you go on a cruise, all you do is eat and sit. So I thought, oh good, maybe I can work off all this food I'm eating.
I used to ride with my dog alongside to work every day, and that was wonderful. It was great. She kept up with me, and then she'd, you know, hang out under my desk.
My husband had a real high-pressure job. And we used to play golf, but the courses were so busy that it was like hurry up and wait at each hole. And he said, I'm done, I'm going to go buy a bike. So he went and bought a bike, and that was the way he relaxed. And I used to sit home, and I said, enough is enough, I'm going to get a bike too.
But I have a good friend who encouraged me just a few years ago to start riding again because she wanted somebody to go with her on bike and barge trips. And so I started, and I love it.
I moved to Boulder and we met a group of people who were biking, and my husband and I joined their group. And so I've sort of grown up with the bicycle trail system in Boulder and have been there to see the new trails come into existence. So I have a pretty good idea of where you can go.
I really didn't start seriously riding until I moved to Colorado, and you could always count on it to be sunny. I remember the real thrill I had when I went down to University Bicycles and got my first multi-speed bike. It's 30-some years old, and the gears are down there on the stem. They're not even Shimano gears, but I just love that bike, and I'm not going to give it up.
And then when I started getting back into biking, I started taking international trips. And this is so exciting. And you can see parts of the country that you never see otherwise.
At the University Women's Club Tea in 2007, I was standing there with 3 other women, and I asked, where's the biking group? Because I thought for sure with all these interests in Boulder, surely there must be a biking group. But there wasn't one. And so Mary Greenwald and I started meeting together with women and started on the bike paths around Boulder, and it has gone on from there.
I lead now 2 different groups on Wednesday and Thursday. We have an Easy Riders group that doesn't go as far or as fast, and then we have the regular group on Thursday. It's fun biking, we get around and we see new places, but it's also the social aspect of getting to know new friends.
Actually, Sharon Howery, who started the club, invited me to one of the luncheons, the tea luncheons, and we actually rode our bikes to the tea.
I ride with the Thursday Riders because I just love the community of these women.
I'm new to this group, and I'm really enjoying it because I think it's important to find a group that's right at your level, ridership-wise, distance-wise, speed-wise. Feels like a good fit.
And there was this woman who went to my church, and I found out that she led this bike group. I think I'd been here maybe 6 months when I joined this bike group that we're in now, and it was one of the best things I've ever done.
Thursday Riders are great. They've given me a lot of confidence. I would not feel comfortable going out long distances by myself in case anything happens. So with this group, we know that it's a no-drop ride. If someone runs into trouble, we all stop and help the person and make sure that person is all set before we go on. We chat all the time. We've gotten to know each other over the years, and we've really shared a lot in our lives, ups and downs, marriages, divorces, grandkids, travels, whatever. And so it's great for just the social aspect as well.
A friend recommended that I join, and I was so glad she did. I bike about 3 times a week, and I love it.
I love being part of this group. You can either choose to go or choose not to go. They're very accepting. I'm just learning how to use my gears, and everybody's been very patient with me. I haven't had to change a flat tire yet, but I need to learn.
This group has been one of the best things that I've done.
just love being out biking. I don't have to go fast, I just love to look at the scenery, and like today is a perfect example. It is just, gets you in the soul.
I get a lot from it because having asthma, and I find out that it's something that I can do. Sometimes hills are really rough for me, but I manage to get up them, and it just makes me feel really good. It's a high for me.
When I bike again now, it does take me back to my childhood, I think, and I have a lot of childhood memories wrapped up in a good feeling of biking, plus seeing the beautiful scenery at just the right pace as we go. So it makes me feel young.
When I'm on a bike, I just feel good all over. I like the exercise, I like being out in the open air and the sunshine, even sometimes the rain, but not very often.
There's this great exhilaration and freedom you feel when you're biking. It's almost like flying. You're just zooming along over the ground. You really see a lot more than you would otherwise.
I feel so good when I get done.
I think you just get this freedom, this freedom of flow, and especially when you're going down a hill and you're checking your computer and you're going 25 miles an hour. The highest I've ever gone is 33 miles an hour, and it's just like, woo!
When I ride, even now, I often think of those early days and the fun I had of smelling fresh air and seeing the fall leaves.
And you're going down a hill and the wind's in your face and you're outdoors, and in Colorado it's always sunny, and I mean there's nothing better than the exhilaration of moving through the wind.
Long downhills, with the wind preferably. I love going downhill.
I would encourage everybody to get out on a bike. You can do it.
I think everybody should ride bikes. It's a great sport.
When I'm on my bike, I'm just a kid again, doing what I did again, pumping along.
You little sneak. We never know where you're going to be. Where's Longo? But I never could make it Thanksgiving.
The end.